All right. So welcome. This is week uh, 8. I think it's week 8. And it's my pleasure today to welcome our visiting artist, Joseph Demaree. Is a California-based artist and musician whose creative journey spans continents and mediums. Originally from San Jose, Joseph studied at the San Francisco Academy of Art from 1997 to 2003. His plein air paintings capture the ever-changing vitality of the natural world, its movement, atmosphere, and light, while his studio works explore surreal and expressive imagery that reflects his deep curiosity about perception and reality. Joseph's artistic philosophy, which he calls Nowism, embraces the fluid relationships between time, nature, and consciousness. In addition to his visual art, Joseph is an accomplished musician, having toured internationally and released multiple albums, including his most recent in August, Unspoken Things, where Joseph wrote, recorded, and played everything except the drums. He's also produced a comic book, Harvey Knoon, and a cable access show, Welcome Back. Demaree is an artist whose creative life blurs the boundaries between painting, music, and philosophy. His work has been exhibited throughout the United States and internationally in countries such as Portugal, Canada, New Zealand, and Japan. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Over.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good to see you again, Steven. It's been a couple years.
I'm done with my intro. If you want to tell us all about you and your work, we're all excited to hear.
I think you just did a pretty good job of going over some of the ideas that I put into art. Where you also have to remember that it's something that everybody has, and we all get to be part of it. So so there's words, and there's what you built yourself up to be, and then there's what life presents. I'm very glad to be here. It's nice to get to speak to other people. I get to do that every now and then. I work with kids, so I do that often with them. Uh, I keep saying and then I remember this guy that came out to one of our kid classes, and he's like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that very much, right?" So let's say everybody try to not say in our sentences, and everybody tried, and then it got to me, and I started for some reason thinking it was the funniest thing in the world to be talking about something and then say something about there was this time where we were all playing in the field, and an umpire came by, and underneath the anyway. So my website is josephdemaree.com. But you could really kind of browse through my paintings easier if you go to fineartamerica.com slash Joseph Demaree. I am in the middle of making something that I've been working on for a very long time. I started this while I was living in Encinitas, California. No, in Oceanside, California. So that's right up the street from y'all. And I was living in this little apartment where I finally got the studio set up, and I was living with a girlfriend, and it would be the last day that we were together and that I were to pack everything up and move. And I didn't know that, we're young and we do things fast sometimes. So anyway, I got most of the background done and the house and this quick drawing of the people. I'm working on the people more right now. Sort of. It's kind of, there's a lot to be done. There isn't as well. It's getting close. There we go. It looks a little better. So I'm out there painting this in the back alley, and it's big. And the neighbor comes by, and he goes he goes how how did you know? And I said, well, what do you mean? How did I know? And he said, you painted the people that used to live in your house. And I said, well, I didn't know. And then he said, they passed away not too long ago, and you're the next people to live in that apartment. And I said, wow, well, that's news to me. You know, I just moved in maybe a month and a half ago. And I finally got the studio set up to paint. And I was really going at it. Yeah. And I just had this thing, that this intuition, this imagery in my head. It was, this new November, October, Halloween-esque, like around this time. And he said, "Yeah, wow, it's just uncanny that you ended up doing this. Nice to meet you. Blah blah blah. You as well. So and so." And then all of a sudden, I'm moving out like the next day, and then it sits in my storage for years. I pulled out one other time. I pulled it out while I was in between places back at my mom's house, and I just started working on it, and then back in storage, and then back here, and it's been sitting on my walls for a couple of years now. And I just leaned into it maybe 2 days ago, 3 days. Well, no, so I don't know, like maybe a month ago or something like that. So it's in between. You can tell it's not done. You know, kind of see some of the drawing that I got going on, and then there's these textures and layers. His face isn't done. It was just kind of, it's still not done. This is going to change dramatically. Maybe parts of it will. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? There we go. Talking about painting, right? Talking about what we're going to do. So just to let you know how big it is, too. It's something I've been lugging around for a while. It's pretty big. I made the frame, put the canvas on it. It's really easy. It's not that hard to do. Saved you a lot of money on a big painting like this. For any of you that are going to start painting, which I urge you to do, because it's life-changing. Every single stroke of it, every time you get to play with the concept of art, and it's therapeutic. Over.
First, I'll just kind of quickly scroll through these so that way if anyone sees any that they want you to talk about, um, maybe they can call that out. But I already saw one that I am interested in. So let me go ahead and first just give this a quick little scroll. Okay. And it looks like there's probably more pages, so we can move forward after this one. But I like this one over here. Um, so you called it the lurker. You want to uh, like what inspired you about it? What's the story? How did this? What's this about? Over.
my my mom stepped out and had asked me to take care of the house for like a week, to water the garden. So I stop in, and I go to water the garden, and I see this black shadow in the corner behind the sofa, suck all the light into it. And I turned away, and then I saw then I saw this, and I did some dishes. I didn't look back. I walked around the house, outside, and I watered the garden. And the image haunted me for like 3 days, and then I painted it. I painted real quick. I painted in like, I don't know, 2 sittings, so 6 hours or something like that. Maybe 8, 6 to 8, maybe. Anyway, it's real quick one. I was gonna title it something else, and my friend that I played music with, who is also a painter, um, he uses spray paint. That's something I've never really even spent time thinking about. And he's he uses the brush as well. Anyway, what does it matter? He saw it and he said, "Oh, the lurker." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's, that's exactly what it felt like. This thing, this entity that's there, that you see in these old paintings too. But I wanted to be a little more whimsical. And I think also growing up in like the 80s, there was this like playful way that some of our children's books did these kind of characters. Um, so yeah, there's that one. Over.
Like I kind of felt connected to it because you mentioned the 80s, and we had a lot of like children's creatures, like toys and stuff that were kind of monster like. There was like Popples, and we were into like the Gremlins and things like that. They were really monster like creatures, but like children loved them back then. And so in a way it kind of related to that. Plus I love the color choices that you made. And also I think we've all had that feeling where we saw a shadow in the corner and thought it was something else for a brief moment, and that kind of really resonates with me. Um, so yeah, that's why I picked this one.
Uh, Joseph, I have a question for you. Can you hear me? Okay. As a musician, how much has music influenced your painting? I see one picture of a guitar, but I don't see anything else. But could you explain that and talk to us about it?
Music and painting, and writing a song, finding a lyric, shoot, dancing in the sand. They're all the same thing. So it's not what music influences me, or like a painting influenced me, or the way the sky changes, or the way the reflection is. You know, it's inspiration that you kind of get to learn to dance with or on, or I don't know. Um, but I use music a lot. I work towards being being proficient with music a lot. I'm more proficient with a brush and color, um, but I do use that color in music as in art, or in painting. Um, I use them both. I guess with composition and music is very similar too. You form this image or window or reflection, and then you well, everyone does it differently, and what I like to do with it is leave room for the viewer or the listener for their imagination as well. I think that's my favorite thing in the arts. And so when I see that, it's thrilling. And it helps me move that inspiration as well. It helps me make that, it helps me be here today, get to meet who's going to be paying attention to this. And now we pass it on, right? So some of these paintings, most of the time I'm listening to music. So the influence of music, and its rhythm and beat, and I'm tearing it apart because I'm tearing everything else apart, because that's what artists do. Otherwise, you will, you're not going to move past learning how to paint the house, and that's a good step. You don't have to move past that. Um, but with however they made me, and how I continue to work with the illusion that is presented, I am most interested in how it all works, the breakdown, the layers, the beauty, the whole symphony. I like to learn how to do it all. I can't play horn instruments. Those have been very difficult. Um, but I could write a song and play the guitar, and I'm probably the most proficient on the drums, as I'm the most proficient with a brush. And it doesn't matter what's on the brush, as I enjoy the whole medium of acrylics, oils, and watercolors, and pens, and whatever else, gouache, silk screen, and it's all really really fun to play with. And those are just those are just little parts of uh, the composing the picture, and 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 that in itself is in the writing of the song, the beat, finding the beat and the harmony and the color, and they all can be broken down really. Uh, but the like my favorite, once again, are the ones that give you that room, and so I end up leaning more towards older music and rock and roll, and blues. 'Cause there's this dreamy quality. Hawaiian music, I love Hawaiian music. Lap steel guitar. But I also like psychedelic rock. Um, I kind of came up with punk rock. I played a lot of that when I was younger, and you can obviously still hear that. But I think I've gone more into psychedelic rock mode, but I still include elements of country, old country. I love Patsy Cline and Hank Williams and Carl Perkins. Love Carl Perkins. Elvis Presley. My mom's a huge fan of Elvis. They used to put me on the speakers when I was a kid to keep me from crying and stuff. That's where I like to be. All right, over.
I I think I seeing your work, you're very eclectic.
Oh,
You, I see impressionist, I see surrealism, um, all kinds of directions. I like that.
You're very prolific. Over what period of time are you showing us these paintings? How many years does this stretch? Or don't you know?
Um, this period of time, this period of time. So the time that I have, and I started when I was a child, um, drawing and painting more like regularly when I was 8. Um, in and out of different stuff through junior high because they just didn't know what to do with me. But then I found a great art teacher in high school, my freshman year, and that's when I started playing out in a band. I started singing at 14 in a band. But I was singing in the car. I was singing along with Elvis Presley, and a lot of old country with my dad on our trips and with my mom. Um, Although they never played any instruments, and I didn't learn how to start playing an instrument until I was 18. So it took me 4 more years to step into a guitar, and then a little bit longer to jump on the drums. But I had great teachers. My Like I said, my high school teacher got me into the AP program, which led me to college. Um, so, and I was also studying comic books and skateboard art, and the old surrealists, the early surrealists, the Dada movement, the Impressionists, and I went back to the Impressionists. I found them to be my most thrilling. But all of it is just phenomenal. We get to have this. We have all of this at our fingertips, and there's so ways to present it. And I've just never seen a reason not to use every single part of it if that's what feels right. And so when it feels right, and that's where I want to go, that's where I go. All through high school and college, I got to I got to this place where everything started to feel like it was the same stylization, which is right kind of in here what you're looking at. But I also did these collages, and there are more collage oriented. And then I had we have these changes in our lives, big, these changes in our lives direct our attention. They direct everything. And as a painter, um, well, this is kind of where it went. And so after college, I kind of spent some more time on my own, and and I and I loosened up, and I started painting more natural landscapes, plein air landscapes, and just started to really enjoy catching light, and movement of what's happening around us. Um, so now I kind of mix that in with some of the more tighter, surreal, illustrative things I've learned, um, which has kind of led me more and more into what I'm working on now, and what's to come. As this larger piece, which I showed you, this was in Oceanside, in like 2014. I started it. That's a long thing. That's a long painting to be holding on to. But I haven't had the room. I haven't had the time, and all these other things happen, right? And to be able to pull it out and be like, "Ooh, I got to finish this. I got to get back on this." That's thrilling, right? Uh, so sometimes it's if you are a painter, it's good, or do if you have something in your life that you're passionate about, or even in work, it's the same thing. It's like there's these certain things that you're like, oh God, I left that in the back of the file, right? So maybe I wasn't supposed to get it all done then, because I didn't know how to do it, or there's that too, or it's mostly time, of course. And I had other things that I wanted to do, like the lurker came around, right? The one next to the lurker, these are the most recent, the dark alleys. I was walking down the street and I see this image, right? Another one of these like flashes in the side. And then this one I look back at, and it was just a shadow that kind of disappeared, which I was like, oh great, I saw the vamp, just like feasting on this girl, and then like the next alley is like these people making out, and it's just was like, oh, right on. And I took that home and I busted that out like that night. It was a quick one, and it's always real fun when you can like knock it out in a night. And this is something I learned more through plein air painting, as you only have so much time to 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 get that painting done. Um, and then the colors change, the light changes, your energy changes, the movement around you changes. Maybe the beat that's hitting that's really good changes, right? So I try to bring that in more with what I'm doing now. Where some of the other pieces were, I drew everything out on like a, you know on a like on a transparent piece of paper. The old paintings, these real tight ones. I drew. Oh yeah, let's go. We're looking at these, so we might as well keep talking about these. All of these beach paintings. They see, this is over like a found painting. There's the college by me has a dumpster that I found that has a bunch of free, stuff to play on, and this was like so I'm starting to collect all these things. I just started working at like, at this new program, but it's been around for I think 3 years, and they give me all the extra canvases they don't use. And some of them are left front, so it's I help them hand out the paints, and um, I don't give any instruction. They have a great instructor there, and she's great at what she's doing, and it's a free art class that I've been working at called Paint the City, San Jose. And I did this last 4 or 5 months, for the city of San Jose Parks and Recreation. And it's really neat to get to see like the community and interact with them, and the people that were interested in me would start talking, and then um, I gave maybe 4 or 5 people, let them know that I'm a painter, and please, go ahead and take a look at it. So I'd get to talk art with them, and everybody else in the place was, they had no idea, right? And it was very get to watch a free community event happen, and be able to be the person that supplies them the paint and the brushes, and the canvas. I'm outside in all these different parks. We did this um, as a job. I've been working for this Parks and Recreation almost all my life as well, since I was 14. So when I was 14, I really, I really haven't changed too much in those interests, helping the community and working with the community. I love it. Working with kids, same thing. Um, I started working on art. I started showing my artwork. Um, I showed it immediately when I got the chance, because I just think sharing it is like one of the best things you can do. Keeps your confidence up. You get to meet all sorts of people, the right people, people that are interested in what you're doing. You can do a lot with that energy. You're also going to meet people that don't like it, and that's good too, because they're going to give you their whatever, right? And it's good to listen to that. So sometimes it's difficult because, well, we us artists are hard headed too. But I love to learn, and I keep working towards that. And then the other is playing music. And that one, woo, you meet all of the people late at night, um, banging away at their instruments, doing what we do, and that's another great community that I've got to be part of. So, and getting to do this again, second year, very. Thanks so much for having me, Steven. Sorry, I kind of rambled on there. Uh, where were we at?
I think you were starting to tell us about some of your tighter paintings that you would use. You would draw them out on more translucent paper.
Before we look at those tight paintings, let's look at the real loose stuff. And there's these lava paintings right here. Can you see you can see my marker, right? Okay. So yeah, so these lava paintings right here, and if you go down just a little bit, these two as well. These are, so there's a special thing that happened um, while I was painting in plein air, and I started loosening up, and I'm living in Hawaii, and there was an artist there that I just loved, and he did these abstracted, bright colored pieces that brought my eye into abstraction. This is something I've always enjoyed. It took me a while to appreciate Pollock, but when I did, I just loved what he was doing. And this isn't Pollock. I think this is me, or it's whatever hit me over the head so I'm walking through the volcano, Haleakala, and um, I've already done one landscape inside of the volcano, and I was thinking about doing another one, but didn't bring my stuff. I was on a long hike. This is like a 9-hour hike through. I'm about 7 hours in, way off the path, and I'm looking at this mountain, this volcano, inside of a volcano, Haleakala on Maui, Hawaii, and I was just thinking, maybe I can make a painting that's that's a landscape of where I'm at with the landscape. And a voice said, "Well, of course you can." And I looked down, and there's this crayon box of colors at my feet. And there it was, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, of course." It's that simple. And of course, it's not that simple, because when you go to make one of these things, it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of thinking about how to do it. So at first, I grounded these colors into a paste with an oil, and made my own oils out of them. Except they're so chunky. They were crude, but it was interesting, right? And that's one of the first. That's the crater number one. I kind of started working at it, and by the time I got to the one we were just looking at, like the one that had water, go ahead and click on another one of those. When I got to this step, I just had this whole thing down to like this whole other thing where you see the top, it kind of pokes through, and then you have this, it looks like a pool, and when they hang on the wall, they're just gorgeous. And they change color throughout the day. So if you go down to go to number, go back, and then these down, the ones below, and these ones are a little bigger.
I have a quick question. I don't mean to interrupt you. Is this done from memory, or did you take a photograph, or where are you when you painted these? Yeah.
No, yeah, great question. Great question. No, so I took all I took a good. I went to the site. I grabbed a bunch of colors. I took them to my little place in Makawao. I had this great little one-bedroom studio with a loft, and I worked there. I had every inch of that place going to work for me, and I made these on a table with plastic covering everything, so I wouldn't ruin anything. And I made these inside of this little cabin out in Makawao, Hawaii. And they're all on a wooden board, like a thick wooden board. And you can paint on these boards. You can order these boards. They're great for painting on. They're great for oil colors. So I brushed on these colors, and I did it from memory. I did it from feeling. Because I hiked in and out of this volcano all the time, and you would. So this one, it was like you'd see these colors flash through, and you would see this fog. It would be like this thick fog that would roll in, and it would always just cover up all the colors, and the fog would roll out, and then it would just be this beautiful bright day, and then you would just be so hot, and then all of a sudden this crazy wind would come through, and so the whole place phenomenal movie. Anyway, I moved my colors around with the brush on this one, and then where I got to where I liked everything, I poured on a 2-part epoxy, and I levitated it. So I levitated the board on a box or something, so the edge was near it. So when you pour the epoxy on it, it just goes right around it, and I had to sit there and watch the things. Each one, whenever you do them, you gotta wait, and you gotta stay on it. You gotta watch it and watch it and watch it, because anything that's sticky around, you gotta clean everything. Anything that's sticky around will, and you gotta move it around so that your colors will stay in place, because sometimes the colors will start moving and slipping. And I did a few layers, so it'd be like three layers like that. So it took a while. These things took a while.
How big is that?
That one's about 12 by 12.
Oh,
I did 3 of them at 12 by 12. The ones that have the thick, the that we were looking at before this, those were smaller at about 5 by 5 and 8 by 8. That one's about 4.5 feet by 33 inches. So that's a big one. That's the first one I did. And so then I went small, because I wanted to, you got to learn how to do this. I don't want to blow it all right away. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Like, does size matter? Does the skill matter? Does the movement matter? Does the idea matter? Does the material matter? these ones glow. When they hang on the wall, they have this glow that happens when the sun hits it, and it's just incredible. While I was making those, I started doing, and I've been showing my work at I'm part of the Lahaina Arts Society, and this is a beautiful group of people. They're a little older than me, most of them. There's some people my age. There's some people a little bit younger than me, but most of them are older than me, and they've been part of this society of artists for a long time on Maui, Hawaii, right? And here I am. I'm a new guy there, and they are so kind and friendly and helpful. Um, and I brought in my my I brought in this other work that was plein air work of the island to become part of the that's the group, and I so I started making these crater paintings to show and sell at the outdoor banyan tree art market. We all had our little booth, and 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 as I'm making those, I'm also getting hit over the head by all the sunsets that are just remarkable. These colors that you don't see anywhere else, and so I lean into the abstraction, into these afterglow paintings based off of the crater artwork. It was just like, oh, okay, I can do this other thing too with it, that isn't using all of my materials that you got to hike a good way to go get. And then it's like, well, I don't know if I needed to get any more, because I still had a bunch of them, right? And I knew I wanted to do these real big pieces with it. So I did all these smaller, these are all real little. They're all like 6 by 6, 10 by 10. Um, I just sold the Afterglow number 8. This one is in the process of being sold right now, and it's the last one. Well, I have a few more of the smaller ones, but I just sold this one at the San Jose market. It's another street market. I love these little street markets. They're such great ways to get to know your community, get to meet other artists, get to see all the people that are interested in art in your community. But with Maui, these are people from all over the world that are going to Maui because they know about the Lahaina Art Society. They know about the artists there. And it was just remarkable. I met some just phenomenal people. I had, a couple people come back and buy more and more of my work. I'll keep seeing them. One lady, she bought all my huge pieces. So back to the crater work. So now I've decided I'm moving. I moved. I don't know why. I'm like, I had a great little setup. Who knows why you do things in life? But just went on this like trip to London, and oh no, I have not. I haven't gone on that trip to London yet. Never mind. I'm about to leave Maui, and I put all my stuff in storage. And before I put it all in storage, I make this last big crater painting, and it's crater number 9. And this thing is enormous. And so I used a little bit of the colors of that I've been using in the sunset paintings, just like they hit that mountain. I finally used like a blue, like in the to show somewhat the sky and movement, and these pieces now they're not even crushed down. That's the way I found. It's like the way I found them. So they're just big, rocky, chunky. Oh, just this awesome flow and movement and feeling. And I managed to sell this one like right away. I met this girl while hiking through the crater before leaving, and I was just like, oh yeah, I just finished this painting, of the crater. And she was an appreciator of art. She was an attorney, and she studied in law, and she put it in her office and just said she loved it. But that's how the I keep it open, and sometimes it's like I never thought I would be making these more abstract, natural, environmental environment pieces, like using the environment, and it led me into like doing this again in Portugal. And I still keep my head, I still try to keep it open to what's to come. But San Jose seems to lead me more into this other direction. But you just, who knows? Time is time, and here we are. But I got to do this was the last of the my crater series, until I get to go back and possibly live in Hawaii again. You never know, or near another volcano. You just never. Anyway, okay.
Are you, excuse me, are you in San Jose now?
Yeah, yes. I returned to the United States after living in Portugal. So I was in Portugal for about 2 years throughout the Corona thing, and I traveled through Spain, and landed in Portugal. There's this first painting of Portugal, Praia Nova to Nazaré. So these two little ones, these are the little paintings. They're about 8 by 10. I was in Portugal on a bike tour with a girl, and this woman I was dating, and I found art supplies in these little China shops, but they have everything. They have oil paints, they have canvases, they have light bulbs, they have tools, they have anything you could think of. They have clothes, they have sunglasses. That's where you go to get anything, and you can find anything in the world there for next to nothing. So you could. I was staying in Portugal for next to nothing, and as an artist, money is something I'm not very good with. But I make sure I enjoy life, so I use it just right, and it comes and goes. If anybody wants to make a donation or buy any of my paintings, I'll make you a great deal. Anyway, I made these two little paintings, and then I stored them in these little makeshift boxes while we're traveling. By then, we had rented a car and put our bikes in the back of the car. And then all through Spain, I didn't get a chance to paint anymore. Got back into Portugal, got back on our bikes, and the Corona thing happened in Nazaré. That's right. So then everything shuts down, and then we got to go find a place. And I just love this little town, Armação de Pera, in the Algarve of Portugal. And so we go back to the Algarve. We catch like the last bus to get anywhere, and I go to the guitar shop and I buy a guitar the last day before everything shuts down. I got a little acoustic nylon string, and then we're shut in. And so luckily we found a place that was monthly, and it was a beautiful place. About a 15-minute walk to the beach, down these just great, it's just Portugal is just beautiful. I'm Portuguese. My mom's full Portuguese. Our family is from Madeira, and I'm out in Albufeira. And at the time I didn't know where Madeira was, and I find out that Madeira is an island where my family was from, but I never made it there. I hope to one day. I hope to get out there. Anyway, so I do this next painting, The Invisible Hand, for this album cover. I had this like the visions I get here. I got this vision, and for this album cover I was working on, and then I made this one here it's called The Invisible Hand, and I made the whole album on my phone, and that acoustic guitar. And I just used my phone microphone, and I used the acoustic guitar, and I used the effects on the phone. And there's a free app called BandLab, I think, BandLab. And then I ordered some stuff online, and then I started the next one, and I got more time, and I started painting in Portugal. And so now you can see all these landscape paintings. These are all in front of my new place. I ended up moving to this other place, and I ended up moving on my own. I just got comfortable and wanted to play the guitar, and I like to paint, and I like going out, and I just like spending a lot of time working on just on my work, I guess. But I got my own place. Oh, there she is, right there. That's the woman I was seeing. She ended up in that painting. This is right in front of our place, right up the way. There's beautiful little beaches. You can see the moon. I like to paint right before the sunset. You just get these rich, beautiful colors and you got to do it quick. You got to get it done fast. And you got to capture these colors, and then you got to transport it back. View from the spot. This one is a real big piece, and I thought I was gonna go back and work on it some more, but I just loved it how it was, or how it is. So I never went back. And the only problem with that is I met this man, and he wanted to bring his son back the next day to watch me paint. And I didn't go, and I was really disappointed with myself with that. I ran into him later. I never met his son, but I ran into him later and talked regularly. He was always out jogging. I got to know some of the locals out there, and really incredible place, real sweet people. And I got to do a little work for this guy Charlie, who ran the English bar, the Flower Thrower, and Going to Work. So these were inside of his bar, and he wanted me to do a Banksy on this brick wall he had in his English bar. And I said, okay, great. That sounds like fun. Let's do it. And so this is my take on the Flower Thrower, and he wanted me to sign it so I finished it without the signature, and I was like he meant my name. He wanted me to sign it with my name on it, and I said, okay, I got you. And so I signed it Banksy, and then I signed my signature over his, my idea of his like tag or something, because he's a street artist, and I'm not a street artist. I'm a painter of the streets artist, or well, more like painter of the sunsets and landscapes and beaches, but the landscapes. I'm a painter of the landscapes artist. And sometimes they get streets in there. Maybe I should go and paint one of the alleys one day. That's not a bad idea. Alleys in San Francisco are remarkable. That would be an incredible painting. There we go. Hey, I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'd get my buddy Paco, who I play music with, take me out, and I can paint them painting trains. Anyway, so this is one of the works I got to do there. Oh, great story about that one. So my buddy, I'm moving out of Portugal when I do that one, and my buddy's there, and he's talking to everybody while I'm painting this thing, and they're like, is that Banksy? And he's like, yeah, that's Banksy. And they're coming up to me, and they're all taking pictures with me and having me sign my autograph and stuff. And he doesn't tell me about it until a couple days later. He's like, oh yeah, they were all coming up to you because I told them you were Banksy. Anyway, here's another one that I did for Charlie at the Water Dog in Armação de Pera, Portugal. And this is my rendition of Going to Work, which is by a famous painter, L.S. Lowry. So Lowry is an English painter, and he painted all these scenes of people going to work. This, like, inside of the bathroom, when you go in the bathroom and you look up, there's a drawer. There's drawers in clothes, and behind those drawers, he keeps all of it, whatever, stuff to clean everything with, right? It's just got style. It's elegant, different. He put a lot of effort into this place. He just he loves this bar that he has. He's just incredible. Interested in art, is an artist in his own way, and that's where you go if you want to speak English. And I met all sorts of people there. I met millionaires there that I ended up becoming friends with and getting to go to dinner with, and I met all sorts. I met famous people there. I met people I didn't know that were famous there. I met the street people there. I met everybody there. I met my neighbor, my neighbor there. And speaking about music, I ended up playing music with my neighbor, and it was very incredible because I got to meet buddies through him, and we rapped in the basement and drank beers together, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so going back to L.S. Lowry, he's like, here's the scene. This is distorted, the regular dimension, and it's just a incredible painting, right? And so I kind of broke it down. I made it a little bit poppier. And I had to paint it on top of these cabinets that slide open and close, like on a ladder, kind of like this. You know, you're like, oh, you gotta get in there. You're sturdying yourself on this ladder. You're up in the air. How in the world did Leonardo da Vinci do it, right? Or Michelangelo? My goodness, on their backs making this stuff. They made their, you know. Anyway, while we're in Portugal, if you can see these shell artworks. So now this is based off of that same idea of the lava rock work. And this one, I just wanted the shell. I made them so that they're clear. When you hang them on the walls, they float off the wall, and when the light hits them, they leave shadows of the shells and the colors against the white wall. Um, you know, there's just this whole other like idea, and I made maybe 8 of these, and this is what I had these in all my landscapes in my place on the walls. I don't know if I even got to show any of that. I got to show my work once while I was there. Oh, and I showed. I played regularly played the guitar and sang regularly at a uh, at a restaurant where I would show some of my painting work. Oh, I have this one. I could show you this one. And
Are those actual shells?
yeah, they're real shells from one of the places I love to go swim at. On the beaches I went to regularly, and I saw them, and I just collect. I love collecting shells. Um, this is one of the few. This is the only one I made with these shells. The other ones I used these like pearlesque shells that I became obsessed with, and I looked everywhere. And I collected a bunch of those, and I kind of did the same thing with those ones that I did with the lava rock. Right before I moved, I made a really large, like very, very large, and these are delicate. These ones are delicate, so you got to be very careful with them. You can see, all right, and I just made these like hinges, so you can hang it on the wall. And I put these little feet on it, so when it goes on the wall, it floats off of the wall, so that the color when when the light hits it, because they're really nice to have in the kitchen or just on your wall somewhere, like, and when the sun comes in, it changes. The light changes. Anyway,
Very cool.
Very cool. Thank you. All right, so this is the tighter work that I kind of got stuck on, I felt. But with the majority of the people that I grew up with, this is the work they associate me with. So as far as I think technically and drawing wise, like I kind of came to this area, and then I backed off from being so tight. But if we look at some of these, there are some real neat moments. That one I sold at a show in Oakland, and it's a big painting. About, I don't know, that's big. Where did I put it? Let's see. Yeah, about maybe 50 inches by 23. And go ahead and zoom in on that one. Go ahead and click in on the chickens, maybe. You can kind of see the style I had going on. There we go. It's really tight, real detailed, and a lot of fun to do. A lot of little strokes. And this is acrylic. Get some of the detail.
Oh,
back to
yeah,
your,
yeah, yeah.
there you go. Right. It's kind of stuff you learn in college. Good stuff to learn. I left San Jose for Portland, Oregon in 2004. And that was right after I left college. But I went to the Academy of Art for about 7 years on and off. So I took some breaks in there, and so sometimes I forget that I was going to school. This one I did while I was in Portland, Oregon. It's a triceratops with a with the saddle on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like her, her way of getting around. This is in Portland, Oregon. I was the girl on the left is a friend of mine. I was dating her. The guy in the center there, he used to play drums for me in the way back. That's Ella Lugosi.
What was the inspiration for painting this?
This was around this time of year, and every time around this time of year, I just get the weirdest images in my head. And I was, we were going through like hearing about like Armageddon a lot and the end of the world, and I'm living in Portland, Oregon, and there's this big wild crazy show going on there, and as far as like an eclectic group, it's just thought about how the van into the end of the world, right? It's going to happen, when it happens, the meteor will land, right in the gas station, and what was extinct will it rise again? Will we be witness to the party? Will we be part of the undead? Um, the creatures that were once globally like separate, are they living together with robots in harmony? That kind of stuff, right?
So when you paint these, do you use any kind of reference photos?
Oh yes. With this one, I had Devin pose, the girl on the far left. I asked her to pose for me. The guy in the background, Harry, I asked him to pose for me. And I think I found a picture of this lion. I kind of draw these things out in a little thumbnail first. Not very large. Like when I have these images, I just um, I start with these ideas for it, and sometimes I'll even like write down like what it's supposed to be. I'll have these ideas for it, and then I'll work out these quick little like drawings that like show me how it's like I want it to go. Um,
Right. It's kind of similar to plein
right,
air painting.
right. And then I'll like write down, if I can't remember eyes like broken, in mirror. Right. For some reason, I don't know. Right now, I just thought I'm going to do this painting of these eyes broken in a mirror, and so
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll draw these little uh, quick little sketches sometimes, and I'll get back to them when I was doing this kind of work. And then when I got back to them, I would get a tracing paper, and do a drawing. This isn't tracing paper. This is what I'm doing now, because I'm going to be. I'm trying to get this warball camp started, and I thought, oh, I'm going to make a little advertisement for it. It's for kids and adults to play this game where it's like a dodgeball game, and so I'm working on this for that right now. And so say I would do the little sketch at that time, and then I would draw it. That would be on tracing paper. Then I would take this tracing paper, I would lay it down on the board that I would be painting it on, right? And be like, here's my board, lay it down, and I redraw it all out, like using a carbon copy, so when I drew the marker down, it would put the carbon on the paper. It was very kind of technical process. is something I learned in college. Again, college, you know, they don't have a lot of these people, the teachers, a lot of these teachers, they don't have the experience that comes with being a artist. They have a different experience of being an artist, and that's like in illustration, and that's in studio work, and those are artists too. You know, I work a little differently, and my favorite painters again. Well, not all of them did it outdoors. Pollock did. He painted outdoors. He painted on the ground. Van Gogh's work, the most brilliant work I've ever seen, is all painted outdoors to start, and then brought in the studio. That's the pinnacle right there. That's our guy. That's my guy now. Dali, at the time of these tighter paintings, I love Dali and Magritte, Tanguy. I just didn't understand Van Gogh yet. But anyway, after I like would redraw the thing on the paper, then would get on the canvas, right? And my drawing would be on the canvas, and it would take all that time to get the drawing on the canvas. And this is illustration, to get your illustration tied, and all the other reasons that they want you to think that it's a good idea to waste all that time, to waste all that time. But they think that you need to learn how to practice your drawing and practice your drawing. But some people can just draw, and I'm one of those people. I love to draw. I've always been able to draw. I've drawn all my life. So this one I drew, I skipped all that whole process, and I got hit over the head by a dream recently. And I woke up from this dream right as this white tiger with black stripes like was sneaking up in this in my mom's garage with all this stuff everywhere, and I'm talking to these people that I don't know, and my mom's there, and like, yeah, we probably should, like one of these days she'll let me like clean up all the stuff in the garage, and it's all mostly junk, and oh, there's some of my dad's records, and then my dad passed away a while back. My mom's has had a new husband for many years, and I love him as well, Jim. So hey, Mom and Jim, love you. Anyway, in my dream, I look in the corner, and there's this white tiger that just looks like it's sneaking up on me. It has this like kind of a just a friendly face, and then like just runs off like right when I see it, and then I wake up, right. And so anyway, so I drew this last night. I drew this, in a couple of maybe hour and a half, something like that. And I used reference. I looked. It took me maybe 20 minutes to find the image that I liked for the tiger. And then the corner, like this is actually in my room instead of my mom's garage, which I just thought would be even better. So it's a chair I keep in my room. It's this little corner I have in my room.
One last question. Do you still plein air paint?
I think we lost him.
Does that work?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, I still paint plein air. I messed my shoulder up pretty good. I had to take a little bit of a break from.
Joseph, I think we're getting pretty towards the end of the time now, so I just want to thank you very much for again. Thank you. It's great to see your work. You again, and we'll have to have you back here in another year or two.
Thank you. Good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.